And the University of New Mexico Law School is celebrating 60 years of graduating classes there. And joining us today is David Myers, who's a UNM School of Law historian, also the chairman for the 60 for 60 project. And welcome today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Nice to meet you. And let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this project and how it got started.
Okay. Well, part of my job is to compose and set up the history of the School of Law, and we got a new dean, Kevin Washburn, who came in July last year, and I was talking to him and I said, you know, it's really amazing. I know so much about the School of Law and its history, and hardly anybody else does. And he said, well, I have a great idea. This marks the 60th, next year marks the 60th anniversary of our first graduating class, so let's have a celebration to really mark that occasion and really show the influence of the School of Law in the greater scheme of New Mexico affairs. And so we came up with an idea. We'd have people nominate candidates, institutes, organizations, basically anything connected with the law school, and have a celebration to mark that.
And you've already started getting some nominations.
I've gotten quite a few nominations, yes. Go ahead.
Oh, and go ahead and tell us a little bit about the kind of nominations you're getting.
Well, we're getting all of it. It's sort of been a very exciting prospect for me because I've had calls from people who were actually in that first graduating class in 1950. Yeah, wanting to know who was still alive and that kind of thing. But there's been a lot. There's a few that are really, I think, sort of special. People have a very close attachment to the law school and really have appreciated what it's done for them, particularly graduates. The University of New Mexico School of Law set up the first Indian law school program in the country, where Native American students would come in during the summer and they would actually take preparatory classes so they could go on and be successful in law school. That was the first program like that in the country. It's still going on. It's still very successful. And the other thing the school did was that it established the first legal clinic, which was based on medical schools, where law students under close supervision would actually practice law and really get real hands-on experience rather than just theoretical classroom experience. So those are the kinds of examples. People have nominated a group they call the Women Trailblazers, which was sort of the early women graduates from the School of Law. So it's been that kind of thing. Many of the deans have been nominated, and the School of Law has had several people in the judiciary, as you can imagine, and that kind of thing. So a lot of those things along those lines.
A lot of history there. And then when you get done with all these nominations, and when you get, what does this lead to?
Well, what's going to lead to is, well, what we're going to do, and it's interesting because you can imagine, we originally set the deadline date for nominations as April 1st, but we've extended it to April 10th because we're getting so many of them, and I don't want it to stop. So we're going to have quite a few, and we've set up a nomination advisory committee to sort of help us go through this and decide on who the 60 finalists will be. And what that will do is lead to a very special publication memorializing those people and celebrating them. It's really about a celebration of the School of Law and its role in New Mexico, because we're the only law school in New Mexico, so as you can imagine, our influence has been pretty extensive. And then that will be followed by a major celebration on November 12th, a very public celebration. I want to really emphasize this is a very kind of populist experience, because anybody can nominate someone who's been associated, or some institute that's been associated with the School of Law. You don't have to be part of the law school to do this. And so there'll be a big public celebration to mark all of that on November 12th.
All right, sounds like a great event. Again, you can still nominate people up until April 10th. To nominate them, go to krqe.com. We've got a link where you can go to nominations. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And our next